Hey everybody, this is TechNolli again, and today we're going to do a build. We're going to build this beautiful Designare Gigabyte X299. Now this has Thunderbolt, and it's a monster. It's a monster motherboard, so you're going to love seeing that. We've got this really nice NZXT case that we're going to put it in, and we're going to put 32 gigs of RAM. We're going to put our FinV card in the motherboard. I'm going to show you how to do that. We got our NVMe and this beautiful i9-9900X. This is Series X processors by Intel. And how about a 5700 XT and a huge Noctua fan. This is a monster and very quiet. So there we go, guys. This is kind of a pro build. And what's nice about this is we can get up to an 18-core processor on this board. So we've got a lot of support for heavy duty processes. So let's get started on this one. Okay guys, let's get into this beauty. Nice packaging. Woo! Never seen a box like this before. That's a beauty. Look at this motherboard. Wow. All right, let's pull this tray out here. Let me show you what comes in here. Okay, a little guide here. And yeah, these are stickers. I guess, yeah, stickers. Okay. All right, so in these little trays, let's see what we have. Okay, there's the antenna for the Wi-Fi. And here's RGB cabling, if you need it. We've got these are nice. These are roped SATA cables, and there are 6 of them total. Let's see what's over here. Okay, your book. Oh, it's got a nice little adapter for putting on your front panel connectors. A couple of Velcro strips. And more RGB. A beautiful badge. Look at that badge. There's all your screws for your extra hard drives, NVMEs. So, everything you could ever need right in there. All right, let's close her down. Let's get this motherboard processor put in this big bad boy. And let's see, I think I'll take it out of the box. This is nice. This thing is never going to get damaged in transport, that's for sure. And it is heavy, very heavy. Very heavy motherboard, guys. Very heavy. There it is. Now, we've got USB 3 here, USB-C for front panel, 24-pin, fan, RGB, our 12-volt power supply. We have 8 memory slots, so this is good up to 128 gigabytes. We've got 8 SATA connections. We've got our front panel connectors here. We've got, let's see, this I believe is clear CMOS. It's a switch. We've got more fan headers here, 2 more. We've got 2 USB 2 headers. We've got reset and switch, overclocking. Wow. Audio. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 PCIEs. 1, 2, 3 NVMEs. This is a nice board, guys. Very nice. This is just quality. 2 Thunderbolts down here. DisplayPort in. 2 USB 2s. 1, 2, 3, 4 USB 3s. The rest are going to be on your case. There we go. You know what? The first thing I'm going to do is get that little Wi-Fi chip this little guy. Okay, let me show it to you. So right here, we have our Wi-Fi, right in here. And we're going to swap out the one that's in here because it's an Intel, and we need a Broadcom. And here is our little, believe it or not, made by Fenby, M.2 Wi-Fi Bluetooth card that will be supported in our Mac OS. So let's get started with that. Okay, so on this one, what we have to do is turn it upside down. And we're going to take out these screws to get this beautiful plate. Look at that plate. We got to get this plate off because we got to get into our little tin can. And you guys, I know you've been saying, he keeps talking about a tin can. Well, I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so this plate will come off. Set that aside. Now up here, we can't pull it out yet. So let's take out these two screws right here and here. To get rid of that little cover, we got this screw right here and a screw over here. This should let us get to our little tin can. Let's see here. There we go. There we go. It's got some wires that attach right here, so just want to make sure that you don't pull up on it too hard. And there's a little fan in here. This is the tin can I keep talking about. We got to get to that. So let's grab our smaller screwdriver and remove these two small screws here to release our little tin can where our M.2 is for our Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. So 1 and 2 right there. All right, set it back down, and now we can just pull that out. See, that's all there is to it. Now there's one screw right here. So we'll take it out. And then we can take this cover off. And there we go. There's our little M.2 Wi-Fi Bluetooth card. We'll pull this little rubber thing off of here so we can get to the antennas and another screw. I'm going to reuse this rubber felt, so it's just got some stickum on it. There we go. All right, so let's take out this screw right here. And we'll just take it out. Now, these little antennas, very gently, just unsnap off of their little pins, little connectors, okay? Now, let me get my Fenby. Here's my Fenby. Mac OS supported. That's why we have to change it. Okay, so I'm going to put my antennas on this one. Doesn't matter which one you put on where. Okay, I got them stuck on. Now I'm going to take that little black spongy thing and put it on there so they don't pop out on me. Because what I have to do is put it back in the slot right here. Just tuck it in here. Right there. There. I got that one wire going up there and this one right here. So as long as they're kind of tucked away, that's all that we really care about. We just got to put this screw back in to hold it into place. All right, there's our little Fenby card. So there we go. All right, now we can put our tin can back on it. Our lid. Right there. put our screw in the side. And it's just that easy, guys. All right, so there it is. It just plugs in to our motherboard. There's a little socket down there, M2 socket. So you just kind of get it in place, a little bit of an angle, and then snap it into the socket. Right there it goes. Then we'll put our 2 screws back in. There's number 1 and number 2. You have to kind of feel around a little bit and it'll fall into place. All right, now we can put back on our cover. Just snaps back down on that side. Now, don't forget to put in your shield, your I/O shield, before you put it all the way down, because it has to fit into these top holes. So we'll just put it into place, and then you just kind of press it into the holes. There we go. All right, so now it's in place, and we will put back on our cover screws. Right there. Okay, then we're going to put back on our plate, bottom plate, and remember, we have 2 little standoffs. Now, if you'll notice, I put that in the wrong place. So this black screw goes in this hole up here. All right, there we go. Then these little standoffs go here, and here. And then we just put our plate back on. Right there. And put our screws in. One more, guys. Okay. Now, it's all back together. Looks pretty. Let's get that CPU put in. Okay, guys, let's get out this i9-9900X. And that's all that comes in there. Processor and an Intel label. That's cool. All right. So this is a monster compared to our regular Intel processors. So there it is, and you'll notice it has notches in the bottom and the top, and it has an arrow. Okay, now to remove this, you have to remove this bar first. So just untuck it and then undo this one. Then you lift this one up and just pull this up. So there is our socket. You never want to get near that. Never touch it. Now, what we do is we take the processor like this and turn it so the Intel is upside down to me. It only goes in one way. And then all of those little notches line up perfectly. So we are in there good. And you'll see a little arrow right there. That is where the arrow on the CPU, that's what you got to line up. Then we'll put this bar down first. We'll lift this cover off. Okay. And then pull this arm. So let me show you again. So you put this lid down, then put this lid down, tie this one down, and then you can tie this one down. So double pressure on that. Super nice. All right, let's get the monster Noctua out of its box. Now guys, I don't mean to tell you anything here, but this is huge. 6-year warranty on these Noctua fans. So in this box right here, you've got all of your mounting screws and brackets. It comes with thermal paste. It comes with a badge for Noctua. It comes with a wrench if you need it. Everything you need. Here are our parts. In fact, these are the parts we need. And we need these shorter brackets for our processor we're putting in today. It comes with the longer brackets for AMD if you need them. All right. So I've already got some thermal paste, so I'll just leave that like that. This is all I need. Take that out. And then here is the baby. Isn't that beautiful? All right, let's pull it up out of here. Okay, there it is. Guys, I'm telling you, this thing's big. Big. But it keeps it cool, and that's all we care about. All right, set that down. Let's get these brackets mounted. Okay, guys, now on this X299 is really, really simple to install. So let's just dump this out. We don't need these little black plastic things, okay? So I'll just set those aside. And we put in these studs first. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a little rounded bottom, and that's what goes into the motherboard. So we've got these 4 bolts that we have to put in. So we'll put them in there. Okay. One more. And another. Now, I'm going to just snug them up just a little bit since this is being shipped. All right. We'll snug them up. All right. Now we need to put on our brackets. Now these have little studs that stick up, and so they need to go on these other brackets with the stud sticking up, because that's what our fan attaches to. All right, and then in the last hole, by default, it just sets in there just like that, guys. You don't have to worry about it. All right, so that's it. Now, I'm going to start these screws, but I'm not going to tighten them. I'm just going to start them. Just a couple turns on each one of them. Just little thumb screws. And then we're going to get some thermal paste and put it on this beauty. Hold on. Okay, so I'm going to do the old X treatment. All right, so we got a little X on there. Now, I'm going to go ahead and remove the fan. So all you do is just pull those little brackets off either side. Make sure you remove the plastic cover that comes on here, and we can just basically set this on here, lining up those 2 studs. Now, the reason that I kept these thumb screws loose is so I can get these 2 screws on either side started, because they're a little bit hard to get started if you have it pressed all the way down. So we'll give it a few turns here. Okay, that one's started. And then we'll come over here and get this one started. That's a lot easier than having it all the way down tight and trying to get this big fan on here. Okay, so I got it tight. Now I'm going to tighten my thumb screws. I'm going to go around, twist them a bit, and then finish tightening. All right, there. We have a great seal. It's tight as can be. It's not going anywhere. All right. Okay, let's throw some RAM in here. So on this board, what it tells us to do, if we're just using 2 sticks, to put it in this one, the second one, and the fourth one. So that's what we'll do. Second and fourth. All right. There we go. Let's get an NVMe in here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and loosen my screw here underneath my heatsink. Right, there we go. I'm going to slide this one in. Right there. And put my lid right back down on it. And put a screw in it. Okay, there we go. That's simple. Now you've got 2 more available to you here. All right, so you can always add more. I just decided to use this one because it's furthest away from all the heat of the graphics card. Okay, all right, so I think it's time to put this thing in the case. Guys, I almost forgot. We need to put the fan back on it. So we're using the standard spacers that come with it. So we want to put this bracket back to this point. Okay, so right there, just so you can see that. See how that is all the way flush here, this little U. And that is nice and tight. It's not going anywhere. And I'm going to go ahead and plug in my CPU fan. Okay, let's get the case. Okay guys, you know, these are just really, really nice cases. And this case is only 69 bucks. And it's just a super well built case. Really nice. So we loosen up the screw over here, thumb screw, and pull on the glass. This is tempered glass, and that comes right off. Now look inside here. We've got 2 case fans that came with it. We've already got our standoffs in place right here. And we're going to take the other side off so we can do our cable management on that side. So we got 2 thumb screws right here. Just loosen them up. And look how nice this side is for cable management. You've got all of this section here that you can run your cables through to make it look nice. And a couple Velcro strips. You can put some hard drives on here, some 2.5s, and then you've got right in here, if you can see this, you've got more room here for 3 additional 3.5-inch drives right here. Power supply goes here, of course. So, you know, 69 bucks, nice case, no sharp edges, sturdy, doesn't flex on you. Really a good value. All right, now I already know on these cases that this fan right here sits really close to our I/O shield down here. So I'm going to remove that to make it easier to get our motherboard in. And one more here. All right. We can go ahead and mount our motherboard in here. So here is this beauty. We'll just put it in at a little bit of an angle. Get it down in there close. And kind of line up the back. There we go. Looks good. And then we're looking for our screw holes right here to make sure it's into place. Now, I think it's always a good idea, guys, to take a little screwdriver underneath this NVMe cover here. there is a little hole that our motherboard spacer comes up through, and I just want to make sure that it's poking through so it's well supported, especially since we're shipping. And I don't know if you can see it, but there it is. It's a little guy that sticks up to hold the board in place while you're putting in all of your screws. Okay? All right, let's put that cover back on. Okay, now I'm going to screw back on my case fan. So we have that all finished up. Okay, case fan back in. We need some screws to screw down our motherboard. So they give us a lot of things in this. A lot of parts in this baggie. So that is cool. And I'm sure I will find some motherboard screws in here. Okay guys, so I've got the coarse thread screws right here for our motherboard. Now do yourself a favor, get yourself a magnetic screwdriver, or you're going to spend half the night putting these screws in and dropping them everywhere. So I'll tell you right now, pause the video, go on Amazon and buy a magnetic screwdriver. Okay, you done? All right, perfect. Let's go ahead and mount this board. There it is. Okay, now guys, let's do some cables. Let's get a power supply in here. Let's hook up our USB ports, our audio, our front panel. Let's get this thing locked down so we can get it booted up. We got to do those benchmarks. Okay guys, so we got everything hooked up. Got our 12 pin over here. Got all of our front panels and USBs and fans hooked up. So let's put in a graphics card. So in order to do that, we have to take these two thumb screws out. All right, got that out. Okay, and now we're going to take out these two slot covers. So we're going to skip this one, go to these two to get this in slot 1. Okay. All right, got our covers off. Now let's slide that card in there. We'll line it up on the back because you really can't see the slot, but there it goes right into its slot 1. And let's put a couple screws on it. And then we will put on our plate cover back here. Put this back on. And we are ready to fire this up. I've already got the operating loaded on this from a previous video that I will link right above right now. You can click on that and you can see the video of the install of OPENCORE on this puppy. But we're going to just power it up and get into the benchmarks on this beauty. All right? But first, we've got to power up our graphics card. Okay, guys. All right. So I ran it out from the back of the case. My 8-pin right here. And my 6-pin over here. Okay, now guys, let me tell you a story. Don't get the MSI brand of 5700 because these will give you a white screen with a bunch of text on it at the second reboot. So the best 5700s to get are the ones made by Sapphire. They don't give you that problem, okay? All right, because what you'll have to do if you have an MSI, you'll have to put in just any old card to get the OS installed, and then you can put the card in and it'll work fine. All right, let's get this powered up. Okay guys, here we are on the desktop of this Gigabyte X299 Designare EX with an i9-9900X. These are the Series X CPUs, and we're going to do Quick Bench 5, and we're going to compare it to the i9-9900K. Okay, so let's run it, and when it gets done, we'll come back with the results. Okay guys, we're coming down to the end of it here. Let's see what these scores are. And here we are. So 1171 on a single score and 9855 on the multi. Now, the i9-9900K is 1269, so about 100 points higher on the single, but the multi was 9168. Now, you say, well, shoot, I don't know that I need my multi-score to be better. Well, yeah, if you're using it for video editing or music production, a lot of tracks, then you would want it to be better. Now, this whole setup, the motherboard and CPU price difference is $430 more for this setup. So, what you have to think about is it worth to be able to upgrade way into the future? And we're going to show you the Cinebench score, and then we're going to jump into Logic Pro, and it's going to blow your mind. Okay? All right, let's get into Cinebench. And here we go. Now, guys, as we come down to the end of it here, I want you to think about this. The Cine score on the i9-9900K was 4796, so basically 4800. Okay, let's see what we get out of this Series X. Okay, we got 4967. So we've got about 170 points higher on this Cinebench score. So a little improvement, just like the multi-score on Geekbench. Now, let's just jump over to some other things that I want to show you. Okay, first of all, we have our Wi-Fi and we have our Bluetooth working on this. I've got my Apollo Twin X audio interface hooked up. I've got it set to 96. I'm going to set it to 48. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start Logic Pro X. Now before, when I was doing these tests, I wasn't so impressed with this processor until I got to this test here, and this showed me a different story. All right, so let's do this. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to turn on our load meter so we can see our threads and cores, and look at that, we've got 20 of them, so that's nice. And I'm going to run like we always do. I'm going to just start with 50 tracks. Now, if you're not familiar with this, what we have here is a synthesizer and 5 plugins on each track, all 50 of them, or all 128, that's the maximum. And we've got just a limiter on the bus, okay? So these are all MIDI channels. All right, or tracks. Now, I'm going to go here to Preferences, and we'll go to Audio. And I'm going to set this buffer to 64, apply the changes. And I'm going to jump over here to, it's 24-bit, by the way, guys, Recording Settings. And I'm going to set this, oh, it's already set, to 48. All right, now let's see how many tracks we can run at 48 at 64 buffers, and here are our 50 tracks. Okay, so we could do this all week, all day, every day, and not even heat up the processor. Look at this. We're running basically 30-35% with 50 tracks at 48. All right, let's jump on up, and let's just throw it all 128 at it. Let's not mess around, okay? Let's back it up and let's hit it. And notice here, we're running at 75% with all 128 tracks running. All right, on the i9-9900K that a lot of you guys are running, and it's a great processor. I'm not dogging the 9900K. I just want to show you what other possibilities are out there. We were completely 100% pegged with this setting exactly, okay? Pegged. It would run it, but it was pegged. We've got room here. We've got a lot of headroom left with 128 tracks. Now, guys, this is what totally amazed me. I've had a couple of guys say, but I run at 96. I record at 96. And I'm like, oh, wow. Well, that's going to change a lot of things because that puts double the processor load on when you run at a 96 sample rate. So I'm going to back it down and see if we can run 50 tracks at 96. Let me change it, get it over here, and we're going to change it to 96. Wait for it to apply. All right, now let's hit 50 tracks. Right there, 96. We're not even using 75%. This blew me away because on the i9-9900K, we were maxed out. Okay? Let's see how many tracks we could actually do. Now, these are MIDI tracks, guys. We're still running 64 buffers, 96 on our sample rate. I don't know, let's go to 80 tracks. I'm not sure if it'll do 80 tracks or not, but let's see. Okay, now this is what it looked like on the i9-9900K at 48K sample rate and 128 tracks. This is what it looked like. We're running 80 tracks at 96. And this is what I'm talking about. This thing has the horsepower. And this is a 10-core processor. So does the extra 2 cores give you that extra oomph that you need in this? No, because when I ran the 10900, the 10th gen, it wouldn't give us a score. So I am thoroughly impressed with the Series X processors. This is just a 10-core processor. They go all the way up to a 18-core processor. So what could you do with that? That would be crazy. Let's just pump it up here to 90 tracks. Can we run 90 at 96? Okay, right here is where it usually fails, right in here at about the 7th bar. We are pegged, and we got over the hump, and we're still running. So how's that, guys? 90 tracks at 96. So this is just what this showed me is that we've really got a lot more horsepower with this thing. So I just wanted to show you that because I had one gentleman say on my in the comments, he said that why would you ever buy a more expensive processor and motherboard? It's not going to give you any better performance. And this proves right here it really does. It really does. The Series X, very interestingly, is another option that we can go. And it'll give us more horsepower. It's not going to give us the speed of the single core, but it's going to give us more horsepower. And that would be for video editing, music production, anything that needs a lot of cores. This is going to give it to us. So guys, what do you think? Do you think this is crazy? What I like about this is that, you know, we have the option to go up to 18 cores. So let me know in the description below what you think about this thing. And we're going to see you on the next video. And we've got something very, very exciting coming out with Ryzen motherboard. Would Thunderbolt actually work on a Ryzen full-size motherboard? Stay tuned.
like and subscribe and hit that bell so you get notified when that video comes out. All right, guys, thanks so much, and we'll see you on the next one.